What's up? This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Trench in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray, Dope Living TV Live. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. We're ready to get this started, okay? The views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Having said that, we're going to have a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about prison reform and what happens if you read the post that we put out earlier. You got a loved one that goes to prison, and you know that they're innocent. They know that they're innocent, but they got an unfair trial. And they spent a lot of time in jail, and then they come out. They're exonerated. And we want to get to the crux of it. How does it affect their life, their family, and their future outside of prison? Let's get it started, all right? Let me bring on my partner. What's going on, Gina? You know better than that.
Hey, you got me. You got me. You got me.
And for everybody else coming on, unmute yourself.
Yes, I have to be the guinea pig. I'm okay with that.
What's going on, Mo?
Hey, got you waiting.
Oh.
What's going on, y'all?
Got her.
Beautiful Monday.
What does that guy say on you? I mean, on TikTok? Got him.
He got me.
Everybody say what's up to the life coach.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Yeah,
hey,
what's going on?
Hey, real.
What's good?
Everybody say what's up to myself.
Hey, everybody. Oh, that was funny, Gina. About time it's you and not me.
Look, after me, nobody else should be on mute.
Oh, man.
I know, right?
It's like,
like, everybody say what's up to Kevin.
What's up? What's going on?
What's up? I was going to use this but that's okay. Hey, fam.
Look at that. See, now everybody can talk. We don't need the hearing impaired sound up. So tonight we're going to talk about something that's really necessary, I think, to talk about. I think sometime ago, Gina, myself, and Chris, we talked about this and had some people on. It's been actually over a year that we've talked about this. And it's about a person goes to prison and they're wrongfully convicted. They know that they're innocent. Their family knows that they're innocent. But the courts put them in jail, all right? We got a guest on today that's going to speak on it. And feel free to ask questions, he says, and any questions that you want. But let's be cognizant of the fact that he's gone through this. All right. So let's ask the questions, but he defers the questions, and this goes for the audience too. He defers the questions, then so be it. All right. We just want to respect the audience, respect the
guest.
The guest. There you go. All right. So everybody, welcome Mr. Roosevelt Glenn Sr. to the show.
How you doing? Hi, how are you?
Hey, Roosevelt.
How you doing, brother?
All right, how y'all doing?
We
are great.
Real good.
What's going on?
Good to have you.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
Oh, most definitely, man. I think
it's an honor to be invited.
I know it's a blessing for us to have you on here, simply because of the fact I think we need people that are going to really speak on it, that have gone through it. Okay.
Yeah.
it's important that people understand that, you know, the justice system isn't perfect. It isn't correct, okay? But when someone is claiming their innocence and there's proof to corroborate the fact that they are innocent and they still go to jail, something's wrong. Something is truly wrong, okay? And I'm not, you know, I can't speak on it, all right? But if you don't mind, Roosevelt, before we talk about prison, you know, how were you before this happened to you?
Oh yes. Before this happened to me, I consider myself a hardworking young man. At that time, I done everything that I thought America wanted us to do: pay taxes, work, take up trades, and I was working practically since the age of 15. Never been in trouble with the law. Married at the time, working at the steel mill. I was just doing everything possible, I thought, to build a life in the future for me and my family. You know, I was career oriented, never been in trouble with the law, obeyed the laws of the land. I done everything we supposed to do, but yet it still fell on my doorstep.
Man, and it fell on your doorstep hard. So take us back, if you can. Take us back to the day that it happened.
Well, first, let me back in 1989, there were a rash of attacks in Lake County that they titled it "Bump and Rob." It was supposed to have been 5 black men staging accidents with women who drove alone at night. And when the woman would check for the damages, when everybody get out check for the damage, the woman would be attacked. Wow. And on this particular case, this was going on for months, but this particular case, the woman was a white woman from Hammond, Indiana, and she was driving alone, and they done the normal routine, bumped her car, and she got out and checked for damages. And she was attacked and brutally raped, they say, by 5 black men. So my nightmare began on I guess you could say January the 2nd, 1990. The crime happened December the 7th, 1989. And on January the 2nd, 1980, I'm sorry, 1990, I was at work. And I was at work at the time. It was called Bethlehem Steel Mill, but I worked for Luria Brothers. We were a contractor out there at Bethlehem Steel Mill, and so while they work at Luria Brothers, my foreman came up to the north end of the plant, and he said, "Mr. Glenn, we're going to have a safety meeting. So I think he said around 7 o'clock. So when you get time, jump in your payloader and come on down to the south end of the plant." I was up on the north end of the plant. "Come on down to the south end, and we're going to have a meeting." I said, "Okay." So at that time, I was a little excited because I had, prior to this, I had helped a guy who had got his arm stuck in one of the conveyor belts. And the company was big on safety. So a safety meeting, me putting things together in my own mind, I'm saying, wow, they're getting ready to give me this safety award. So I jump in my payloader. I start driving to the south end of the plant, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, this is my first time. I was the youngest black man out there in the company, and I'm thinking, wow, this is gonna be all right. This is gonna look good. So I get to the meeting, everybody's sitting around, and I seen the plant manager. He was on the chalkboard, and he was writing down about the different occurrences. This was the new year, and the different occurrences and the way things was going to happen this year with attendance program and so on and so forth. And there was a knock at the door. So when they knocked on the door, of course, it got everybody's attention. It was several of us in there, maybe about, I'll say maybe 20 to maybe 25 people in this little room. So when the knock on the door happened, the plant manager, he went to the door, got the door, and several people started coming in. It was several men, nicely dressed, and some ladies. They were nicely dressed. And in my mind, I'm sitting there looking at this. I'm saying, wow, representatives of the company. This is, you know, I'm thinking this is big time. I'm hoping the guy didn't die. I know his arm was stuck in the conveyor, but he didn't look like it was to the point where it was this serious. So all this is going through my mind as they're walking through the door, and they said, Roosevelt Glenn. And I said, hey, that's me. I jumped up and said, hey, that's me. I'm Glenn. Get on the ground.
Whoa. What?
Get on the ground. I said, man, quit playing. First, I had my hands up because I thought they was playing. I was pointing gun. I'm thinking they playing. Now I'm grown now. You know, you see a gun, you know it can't be playing, but I'm thinking in my mind, this gotta be a joke. They playing a game.
Right. You thinking it's something to go along with the little war thing.
Right, so I'm standing there, and he said, get on ground. I said, yeah, man, y'all quit playing this and that. And then I seen one guy get thrown to the floor. And when I seen him get thrown to the floor, and another guy was wrestling, they was cuffing, wrestling another guy. I got down on the ground. I was like, this ain't no joke. So they cuffed me, and they arrested 5 black men that night. So I'm saying to myself as I'm being escorted out, I said, what's going on? What happened? What am I supposed to have done? And they said, well, you'll find out. And they just kept escorting us. And then when I got out to the parking lot, it was police cars everywhere. So I see all these police cars. I'm like, yeah, this is not a joke. So when I get in the backseat of the police car, we get on the highway because Bethlehem at that time, it was Bethlehem still. We left there. That's out in Porter County. And this was the Hammond Police Department. So while traveling back to the Hammond Police Department, I began to ask some questions like, what am I supposed to have done? I'm just going on and on and on. And then one guy said, shut up with the N word. And so when he did that, I said, well, okay, let me be cool because I don't know what's on their mind and I don't know what it really takes me. So when we get to the police station, they separated. It was like 5. They arrested 5 of us that night. And so they put us all in different cells. So while I'm sitting in the cell on pacing, I said, what is going on? So finally it was hours went by. And someone came to the cell I was sitting in and told me to come on. So I go with this white officer. He was carrying me to an interrogation room. And mind you, I'm really a wreck because I never experienced, nothing this harsh. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I come up on 25th Avenue, but I'm talking about with the police because you have these thoughts in your mind about what they'll do to you. So while I'm going to the cell, I'm wondering, when I'm going to this interrogation room, I'm wondering, what have they got planned? What is going on? Where's everybody else? There's 4 other co-workers. I'm like, where's everybody else? So anyway, I go into this room, and I'm still not even knowing what I'm arrested for. So when I get in this room, it's like 3 or 4 white guys, and they're big. One of them big, and they begin to give me some strong interrogation. I guess that's what you would call it. And then they told me that, your game is over. Your run is over. We got you. And I'm like, got me what? What did I do? What am I supposed to have done? Why? And they said, well, look, your game is over with. You was a part of a brutal rape on December the 7th. I said, rape? I'm talking about I almost jumped up. And I said, hey, he says, man, you got me messed up. You got the wrong person here. And he was like, no, we got you. Your run is over. And they said, we got they had a confession. And they told me they wanted me to confess because I was the youngest. They told me that I was facing like 120 years. This is what they're telling me. So they say, if you work with us, we could probably work on just getting you probation. But what we want you to do is tell us what you done on this night, December 7, 1989. You were with 4 other men, and you guys bumped a white woman, and you forcibly put her into your car and took her back to Gary, and out there by the airport, and they just went on, and then they started telling me what I supposed to have done. I was one of the ring leaders, and
so they gave you a script.
Yeah, he basically gave me the script, but I was just sitting there listening. Okay. And so when they said, "So you're gonna work with us?" I told them, I said, "No, I'm not gonna work with you. How am I gonna confess to something?" I said, "I was brought up a little different. I don't believe in confessing to something I didn't do."
Right.
I said, because my grandfather, he done pretty good with me. He always told me, when you're done something, take your whooping. But if you didn't do it, stand up to it.
Right.
And that's what he used to. That's what was going through my mind way back in the day. when I was a kid. I said, nah. I said, no, I won't be working with you on nothing. I said, because I haven't done nothing to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
So they got upset. And one guy got in my face, trying to roughhouse me, scare me, just putting his chest all against me. I said, well, you might as well go and do what you're going to do, man. If this the last day I live, this is the last day I live. But I'm not going to confess to something.
How old were you?
At that time, I was 26.
Man.
Wow.
And so, anyway, when they got through with all that interrogation, they took me back to the cell. I guess I wasn't cooperative enough. So they took me back to my cell. And I'm thinking they had done this to everybody.
They didn't
just do it to me.
Right.
So, but anyway, I went back to this holding cell, and I'm sitting in there for seemed like more hours. So finally, somebody came back. So this time when they come back, I'm thinking they done found that they made a mistake. That's what my mind going now. They done found out they made a mistake. So they came back, Glenn. I say, yeah, I get up, I'm coming out. And I say, you found out you got the wrong one? And they was like, just follow me. And they took me back to the same room. But this time, they had a pair of welding garments. It was a one-piece welding garment. And they took it and threw it on the table and said, aren't these yours? And I looked at them. I say, well, you arrested me. I had on a pair. I reported a pair stolen a month ago. So which pair is it? I don't know. I said, it could be mine if the ones I reported stolen, or either the ones you arrested me that I had on when you arrested me. And they say, no, we got you, man. You left this at the scene of that rape, robbery. You you left them. They fit your size. So I said, well, they could fit my size and they could be mine, but I wasn't at the rape and the robbery. And so he said, well, listen. Then the nice guy came in, and he came in. I thought this was only on TV.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, I'm thinking this stuff was on TV, right? He come in, he said, hey, man, you need a cigarette or you want a cup of coffee or something like that? I said, no, I don't want nothing from none of you. And he said, well, the guys, they're trying to work with you, Mr. Glenn, because you're the youngest. They're giving you an opportunity because you still have a career ahead of you. And if you don't work with us, you're going to do a long stint in prison. I say, well, do what you got to do. He said, now, mind you, Mr. Glenn, that we know you tried to help the victim. Okay? But those guys overpowered you.
Wow.
And when they overpowered you, there was nothing else left you could do. So you really tried to help her. Right?
Right.
I said, man, please. I said, hey, so anyway, they took me back to the holding cell. And this time, I guess they still interrogating the other guys, but they didn't get what they want from nobody. So it must have been longer than I thought, because they came back to the cell for a third time, and this time they cuffed me, cuffed me again. And this time they lined us all up in the hallway and they shackled us together with ankle shackles, and we was cuffed at the wrist. So I said, what's going on now? And so it was one guy. Let me back up for a minute. It was one guy that was with us. Now I knew three of the guys. They were co-workers. I saw them probably every day at work. The fourth guy, I've never seen in my life. Okay, and he didn't work for our company, but he worked for the janitorial service that serviced the company I work for. And so I was like, I looked at him. I said, well, who are you? And he began to tell me his name, and he was like, I said, do you know something about this? Because we walking all together in line now, headed to a paddy wagon, So we go into the paddy wagon in Hammond, and we began all talking. They put us, all five of us, in the back of the paddy wagon. So everybody began to scream at each other, man, you know what this is about? You know what this is about? And everybody going back and forth. Nobody knew nothing. So we left Hammond. We got to Lake County down in Crown Point. It was daylight. It was turning day. So we was up all night.
Damn.
And this is when I knew the effect of what had happened, because as we was marching into the county jail, we saw ourselves on television. And when I seen, I said, oh, man, I know my family has got to be a wreck.
Oh,
And I said, I know my mom's got to be, oh, no.
Man.
And that's when I noticed the real effect of it, because when I
Yeah.
seen myself on television and they were saying the suspects of the bump and robs and rapes, and I'm like, oh, man, did this on national TV. And so we all go, so I started asking for my phone call. They wouldn't, I still never had a phone call, but they finally gave me one. And that's when I talked to my family, my mom crying, wife crying, and, I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, and hey, it was a mess. And I could hear the hurt in my mom so bad. That's what hurted me, because I could hear it in her voice. And so they wanted to get me a lawyer and everything. I said, I don't need a lawyer. I haven't done anything. We haven't done nothing. You don't think about a lawyer, but I would advise anybody, get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was like, nah, I don't need no attorney. Don't worry about it. Don't spend your money. I said, they're going to find out they got the wrong person. No problem. So I ended up in the county 4 months.
Man.
That we never went home. But anyway, the 4th month, this is how we ended up coming. The bond was like $85,000. And but so we had they called us down to the county in 4 months. So it was like 3 weeks earlier than our scheduled court date. So when the officer came up to get me, he was like, well, Glenn, you got a court date? I said, I don't have a court date today. That's 3 weeks from now. He said, no, you're on a court list. So, okay, I'm like, what's going on? Anybody told me nothing? So I get dressed. I go down to court, and I see the other guys. We all on the elevator, and we get down to court. We asking each other, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. So we get to courtroom. This courtroom is packed. Family there. Lawyers are there. And when I walked up to where the attorney sit, the lawyer said, you guys ready to go home? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go home. They found the dudes who done this.
Right.
And the attorney was like, well, the DNA testing don't link you to the crime. So they're releasing you. So the deal with that was I was one who had put up partial bond. And it was 2 of us had put up partial bonds trying to make it to the 8,500. And then my family went on to put up the property. So, but what the judge said was, we're going to give that back because he was releasing everybody on our own reconnaissance. So, but because I had also put up money, he said, well, we'll just hold on to some of the money, because they did say a hair that they found on the victim's clothing was similar to my head hair. So they'll go ahead and keep my partial bond. And I said, partial. So the lawyer told me, hey, he said, hey, just come on, let's just get out of here and get you out of here. So I went back to work because what I done while I was in the county jail, I had my family do a leave of absence for me. And so when I got out on bond, I went back to work. And so we get back to work, and oh man, I'm thinking, what is going on? DNA didn't link us to the crime. My attorney said they really probably not gonna have no trial because DNA don't link you to the crime. And so I was working about I'm thinking about 3 weeks. I went back to work, and I came home and I got a phone call. It was the lawyer. And I was like, oh man, the lawyer. I said, hello? He like, well, Mr. Glenn, they're gonna try you. I said, try me? Try me on what? You say the DNA don't link me to the crime. He said, well, 2 jailhouse snitches said you confessed to them while you were in the county. And they say them green coveralls, they match your size, and they're consistent.
Your size.
Wow.
With your work. I was the shortest guy.
Black size? Shit.
Thank you.
I was the shortest guy. And he say, so they taking it. I said, but you told me it wasn't going to be no trial. He said, yeah, that's what I thought. But they got the 2 snitches, and they got the coverall. Now they say the hair is the forensic lab in Indiana says the head hair matches 26 characteristics of your hair. And I said, my hair? How did they get my hair? I said, well, I gave them hair the night we done the testing. I gave them blood. I gave them everything they wanted. He said, well, you're going to trial. So now the most fear I felt in my life You know, because I remember that guy saying, you're looking at 120 years if you don't help us. So now I'm thinking about, well, how many years they going to try to put me away for? Because I know what they're doing now. So
trumping up some stuff.
Yeah. So now the sad part about it is the victim. She couldn't identify none of her attackers because they used that work garment to blindfold her.
Oh.
But now my co-defendant, two of my co-defendants were scheduled to go to trial before me. I was a third. So, and they dropped the charges on 2 of the other guys. So instead of having 5 of us, now they only have 3 of us. So, and we was the 3 together that night.
Let me interject for a second. When she gave her testimony, didn't she say she had been drinking? She couldn't really identify everybody.
Yeah, she was what my attorney found out, she was like 3 times over the legal limit.
Damn.
You know, and this was at the hospital.
But it was some black guys that did this.
Right. But now she done an in-court identification of my co-defendant.
Come on, man.
Of what? Oh, your co-defendant.
Yeah, my co-defendant, she identified him in the courtroom. He was coming for one of the pretrial issues at the court. He was coming to a pretrial thing, and she was there with the detective and a couple of his boys. And she said, she said, that's him. I remember his face. He the first one to approach me. So now,
Drunky Smurf said that's the first one to approach.
Yeah, that was the first one to approach her on the road over there. So now, my co-defendant, he went to trial first, and the guy that she identified, he's going second, and I'm going third. I'm the one who got the head hair 26 characteristic. So the first guy goes, he get a hung jury. So they let him go. They dismissed it on him after this hung jury. So I called my uncle, and I told him, I said, hey, look, I'm not going to sit around for this. I said, I got to go. He said, what's going on? I said, I'm not going to stay for this, man. I say, I know what they're getting ready to do, and I ain't going to be here for it. I say, I got to go. And he said, well, I'll give you anything you need. But he said, life on the run ain't no fun. He said, because I already run. And so he said, no, don't run if you didn't do it. In life on the run, I hate to see you run the rest of your life, nephew. I said, okay. All right, So I stayed, and Mr. Pinkins, my co-defendant, he went to trial and he got convicted. And when he got convicted, I'm next. I made the call again. I said, hey, look. He said, no, I'm going to give you the same conversation, nephew. So I said, all right. So Mr. Pinkins, they used my hair against him. And now the identity the victim gave now, even though she never went to a lineup, she couldn't identify none of her attackers in the beginning, but now all of a sudden she can. So anyway, I go to trial and I get a hung jury. So I'm thinking, well, that's over because the guy that went first, he got a hung jury. They dropped everything on him. So I went back to work again.
Right.
And I was another 3 weeks. They come and say, hey, they're going to retry you.
They can't do that.
Yeah, they said they could because I wasn't convicted or found innocent.
Oh, because, okay.
And so, I go back and they get me. So when they convicted me, when the jury said guilty on the second trial, I lost it. I'm like,
Me
guilty.
too.
And it's like all of a sudden I went to a fog. And what got me out that fog, or whatever that was, it could have been anxiety. I don't know what it was, but I heard my mama scream. And when I heard her scream, I said, I got to toughen up, for my family, So I told them, hey, I looked at them. I seen how they was crying and everything. I'm like, hey, look, everything going to be all right. I got this. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. So off to prison I go.
So hold on real quick. Let's go back a little bit. I'm over here sweating. Okay. So
me too. I'm sweating for you, bro.
You got there were three of you guys that got that left word the car broke down.
Right. That's how
you called your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She picked you three up.
Right.
You all went to a liquor store. You came out, the window smashed, and items are gone from the car. Okay, all of this. I mean, did the police not even check?
Well, I'm gonna back up a little bit because you got it right, but a little bit off.
Okay.
Because what happened was on our way home from work, the car stopped on us on 94.
Okay.
8094, and we was right at the Broadway exit. We was right there, Georgia overpass. We was underneath that bridge right there, headed to the Broadway exit. And so when the car stopped on us, the driver, he was like, "Oh man!" He got out and checked his car, and he said he had ran out of oil. That's what the problem was. His car ran hot. And I said, "Man, you driving the car?" And he was the oldest. I said, "You driving the car with no oil?" We joking now, but we just ran. It's like 20 below with windshield factor. It's like 20 below outside. But so like we on the highway and we walking. I said, "Man, you driving a car with no oil? How old are you?" And my other guy, we started laughing, and then the state trooper pulled up. So when the state trooper pulled up, I said, "Good, they go to Popo." So when he pulled up, he actually said, "Is that you guys' car?" And we like, "Yeah, that's our car." So we think we getting ready to get a ride. We almost to the Broadway exit now. We going up the ramp, almost up to the ramp. And he pulled over. He said, "Well, no, I'm gonna make a notation of the car being stranded, so that way it won't be towed." I said, "We're gonna be back in a few minutes. I'm going to call for a ride now." He said, "Well, okay," and he took off. And we like, "Oh no!" We thought
that would have been an alibi right there.
Yeah, yeah. He testified that we were stranded. He did testify that he passed us stranded. But anyway, when my girl came and got us, we dropped her off at home. She stayed right off at that time Delaware, and so we dropped her at home. And the three of us, we went on to the at that time it was Bowen's Liquors on 21st and Grant. We went there and cashed our checks. That was a routine. We went there and cashed our check. And the lady there, she said, Miss Teresa was her name. She said, "Hey, you guys late. Everybody been here and left. We about to lock up. You made it just in time." So yeah, the car broke down. And she said, "Well, y'all need a ride?" I said, "No, we got a car now." So anyway, we cashed our checks. We got us a little drink. And I pulled over to the gas station. At that time, it was an Amoco right there on 21st and Grant. And I went on and I got $5 worth of gas. At that time, $5 was good. And
you almost filled the tank up.
This was in '89. So I went on got $5 worth of gas. And my guy, he got some oil for his car. So we went on back to the highway. Went out 21st Avenue back to the highway to come up behind the car so I could push it. So we get back to the car. He jumped out and ran to his car. And when he was getting in on the driver's side, he got to doing some making motions. I told him getting because semis coming down, it's cold. I said, "Get in your car, man. I can't hear you. Get in the car, get in the car." So anyway, he got in his car and I began to push him up the ramp. And when we got on the Broadway, I went around in front of him to do jump him off in case he needed it. I put a bumper to bumper. So when me and my other coworker got out the car, that's when we realized he was trying to tell us the window had been busted out. And our duffel bag and our lunch bags had been taken out the car. So nobody really care about that. Just a pair of, you get them a dime dozen at work. They give them to you.
Right.
And so, all right. So after we got his car started, he went on home. Him and his mom, she was sick and he was staying with his mom. She stayed right over there by Methodist Hospital. And my other guy, he stayed in Miller. So I dropped him off. We followed Mr. Durden home. Then I took Mr. Pinkins out to Miller where he was staying. And I came on back. I was staying over on the east side off Delaware. So that was it. That was a Wednesday. It was payday. And we was off Thursday and Friday. That was like our Friday. So that's why we had our clothes in the car. So because we was going to, for laundry. So we went back to work Saturday and the office was closed. So we couldn't go in and report to get new work garments. So that Monday, we all went into the office and reported, talking about Mr. Durden window was broke out of the car. So that, no big deal. Like we always say, no big deal. They said, oh, yeah, you can get another pair. Oh, no problem. We signed, got another pair. And we went on to work like nothing happened. And that's the night, that was December 7, 1989. And we worked all the way up to January when I told you about the arrest, when I was arrested.
Right.
Mr. Roosevelt,
Yes.
do you feel you had good representation with your attorney?
Yes, my first attorney, I think he fought. He really fought. And he told me, he said, hey, they trying to get you.
They're trying to put it on somebody.
Yeah, and he verbally argued with them in the courtroom, and he had to be, I guess you could say, controlled, as they put it. We got to control you. Calm down, calm down. Because the prosecutor was standing toe-to-toe in the courtroom. And so he fought. But that's when I got the hung jury. And then he left the public defender's office, and he moved on. He became attorney, one of the city attorneys or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Karen Freeman came, and she became my second attorney. Wow. And I believe she done a great, as good as she could do, because she even found the receipt that we had from Amoco gas station.
I was just
showing that, because I told him at 12, I said around 12:45, I purchased $5 worth of regular unleaded gasoline. And they said that receipt didn't exist. Well, she found it. And it said it was so close, it was 12:46. I had quoted 12:45, but the receipt said 12:40.
1 minute.
She said, wow, she said, you was on point. And she brought the receipt. It was in the prosecutor's evidence. And she brought it to the court and said that, hey, they wrong. They got this receipt. The man told you where it was at. There's no way he could have been in Hammond, because at the same time, now, mind you, it was 2 attacks that night. The first one was a woman that stayed, I don't know where she stayed, but I think it was out in Maryville, but she worked at the airport. She said she was the first woman to get bumped that night, and it was on 65. But she said she was being followed from I think it was O'Hara. She was being followed. She noticed she was being followed when she got to 65. She don't know how long the car had been following her, but that same car bumped her. And what saved her was when that car bumped her, they pulled over to assess the damages, and a truck pulled over, and the guys jumped in the car and ran.
So Roosevelt, from where your car stopped, and from the policeman that stopped and saw that you guys were stranded, and I guess you guys were walking to get the okay. So from the time of finding you guys stranded and the time that the crime happened, you said in Hammond?
Yes.
What was that timeline like? From there, were there enough time for you guys, let's say, to have gotten there, or was it around the same time you were seen on the highway stranded?
Oh, they said what they done was cut out everything after the car stranded. Oh. In other words, they didn't find they took it to the liquor store because we had a receipt for that too, where we cashed the timestamp on the checks. Mm-hmm. And so they took it from that point on. We never got oil. We never done that. And what they done, this is why I say always get a lawyer, because we gave them exact everything, and they pushed the time back on the crime. So
wow.
In other words, they made it fit.
Yeah, that's crazy. So they would
like we had pinpoint time, the time the state trooper saw us, and the time we cashed our checks. The first victim was being followed, coming from O'Hara.
Wow.
While you were cashing your check. While we
cashing our checks.
Okay.
But they saying that we were the ones following her, and we made a U-turn and got back on 94 and shot to Hammond. We never, all the other stuff didn't happen.
In a jet.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we hit this woman car, but they totally killed the timeline because we gave them all the time.
Well, what's so crazy about that is how they can come and they can create all of those, little stories and things, but don't nobody get messed up for it. You know what I'm saying? But if you did the same thing, you end up in jail. You know what I'm saying? If you made up stories.
We caught you in a lie. We caught you in a lie.
But that's the way the system is when you don't understand the law. They use the law against you. And you help them build a case against you by giving them all the information, cooperating, and you're thinking you're doing the right thing. What they're doing is they're building a case against you.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they say you commit perjury.
Yeah, when I first met the Lord, that's what he told me. You gave him too much information, Glenn.
So you just shut up, just like they tell you to. Don't say nothing.
Yeah, they mean when they say what you say will be used against you. They mean that.
Exactly.
Hey, we're talking with Roosevelt Glenn Sr. We're talking about being falsely in prison for something that you did not do and how you come out of it. He's given us a compelling story about what happened to him and the timeline, all right? And we're going to get into a little bit more. Does anybody else on the panel have any questions or comments they want to say?
I just want to know, just tell me, how long were you in prison?
I always say nearly 17 years, but it ended up being 16 years, 8 months, 5 days, and 12 hours.
17 years. 17 years. Now,
it took me 25 years to be exonerated.
So can you explain when you say you were exonerated, does that also mean that your record was expunged as well? Or
it should have been, but on lawyers, they had their strategies, and right now I'll be expunged after this civil case.
Oh, so
this case is still going on then.
But right, it's ongoing right now.
We're not going to talk about the case itself. We're not going to talk too much about the case. Right. It is still pending, okay?
Right.
But so when did you realize? I mean, I think you said it earlier, but I'm still flabbergasted. When did you realize? Okay, I'm in jail. I'm in holding cell. They've transferred me to Crown Point.
Yeah.
When did you realize that? Hey, man, I'm not getting out no time soon. I mean, how did you feel when that happened?
Well, when I realized I had been in there, maybe I want to say that the first month was the hardest month because you always have this idea that, okay, they're coming any day now, but at the same reality set in when I seen some brutal fighting. And after I seen this brutal fighting, it came a time to revamp my thinking. Because now it comes more of a survival mode than the case mode. Now it's about survival because I wasn't gang related. I had never been locked up like this, and I wasn't really known, and I had that hanging over my head as I raped somebody. So now my focus became, how do I survive? That's when I realized this is a whole different animal.
So you go from living to trying to survive now.
Yeah, I went from the case and all of that didn't matter anymore. It mattered, but right now I just had to go day by day and look and looked up and looked at the fighting, like people taking food from people.
Wow.
People being tampered with, and so now my whole way of thinking has changed.
Right.
Now I'm more
exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. Your whole mental capacity.
Right. The fight became a mental fight, a mental battle in your mind. And so I reverted back to some of the things I learned coming up. Like I was a hunter. My grandfather, he raised me on hunting, fishing, cleaning animals. So all kind of stuff going in my mind. I know how to make weapons. So everything going in my mind now for survival. And that's why that first month was the worst month. Because I had to change my whole setup in my mind. Going from, because I never was a violent person or never harmed anyone. So but I know how things can be. So I started changing my way of thinking for protection.
For protection, yeah, you got to adapt to your
environment.
surroundings. Go ahead.
Adapt to the surroundings.
Roosevelt, I know you said earlier that you opted not to get an attorney because you felt like you were innocent. There was nothing that you had done, so you didn't need an attorney. Do you feel that things may have changed had you got an attorney in the beginning?
I believe so. But then I'm not sure because of my actions in the very beginning. I gave them all the information they needed even before I was able to even get an attorney. Because that night when they arrested me, I told them everything they wanted to hear.
Right.
And I sold myself, really. Because that's what they do. They take all the information you give them, and then they try to maneuver around.
Well, no, you just said you told them everything that they wanted to hear. You didn't tell them everything they wanted to hear. You told them everything that they didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Right. That's
exactly.
And I guess, have you ever asked yourself the question, did any of the other guys do the same thing, give up that much information?
Oh, no, I wouldn't. They couldn't have, because if anyone had went against, they would have to appear in court.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Or it'd be on their statement.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Did you get a copy of all the actual, like when I was convicted, I got a transcript of everybody's.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? You get records. Everything is public. So and me and my guy, Mr. Pinkins, we were the only two to get convicted.
That's crazy.
And the ugly part about it was during both our trials, they manipulated the DNA evidence. At that time DNA was new to the courts. And a laboratory in Germantown, Maryland, they done the DNA testing. That's what everybody was using when it first happened. When DNA first hit the scene, they were using Germantown, Maryland, called Cellmark. So Cellmark scientists, they testified that although they couldn't pinpoint 5, because at that time DNA wasn't good enough to pick out 5 perpetrators in a mix.
Mm-hmm.
So what Cellmark was able to do was say, even though we're not able to pick out perpetrators out of that mix, we can say that their genes, their genotypes are not in the mixture.
Right.
So when the DNA scientists testify, well, their genes and their, I'm trying to think of the word he used, their genotypes are not in the mixtures of the semen, meaning they wasn't in the semen. But Indiana said, well, that's speculation because serology testing is what they use against us. And Indiana laboratory expert says we were included because of our blood type. And at the crime, they found all blood types, A, B, and O. So
that's
they
everybody.
said he's an O, so he was there, and he's a B, so he was there. So they included us through serology testing by using the blood work instead of the DNA testing. And, that's what got moving ahead. Indiana, after I was in for 10 years, Indiana University law professor, Professor Fran Watson, she took my case. And what it was, me and Mr. Pinkett, she took our case. And what it was, he was writing to the Innocence Project. I was writing. His family was trying to get help. My family was trying to get help. And it all came to her office. The people in New York referred our case to her, and she had met with my sister. And she was like, it was so much that had happened for Glenn and Pinkins that she had to take the case because everything came and sat in her lap, So she said she had to look at the case, and she read the transcripts. And after New York had referred it, and she had met my sister in Lake County Court when she was doing another case from another brother that had been wrongfully convicted, Larry Mays. And that's where my sister met her at his trial. So anyway, my sister gave her all the transcripts. It was like 3,500 pages. And she took the transcripts and took them back to the McKinley School of Law up in Indianapolis, IUPUI. And they read the transcripts, and they got back with my sister, and they got back with Mr. Pinkett's family, and they said, unbelievable. She said she wanted the case, and she couldn't guarantee anything because she also, being a law professor in the summertime, she also teaches forensic science. So when she read the transcript, she said you would have to have both of these skills to see what I saw. And she said she's seen the manipulation of the forensic science.
And having said that, according to the transcripts, basically they said that those DNA tests that they did perform on the hair that came from the victim's sweater, they excluded you.
Right. That was 10 years later.
It should have been over.
That's what I thought. That's what I was getting to when I came back to court. Professor Watson, the court, Indiana, they gave her permission to retest all the evidence. Okay, so she retested all the evidence, and they said the hair found on the victim's sweater matched all 26 characteristics of my head hair, and it was unlikely it could have come from anyone else. That's the words they use in the courtroom. But anyway, at this time now, they had a DNA test called mitochondrial DNA testing. And so now they were able to test the head hair through DNA analysis instead of the microscope.
Actually see the tags.
Right. And then they also, now when they got the hair, now this is another whole, man, I could tell, this is, when they got the hair, when she was finally awarded the hairs and everything, it was still in the prosecutor's personal locker 10 years after the fact.
Golly.
Her law students went down to Lake County, and they went as law students doing research on cold cases. And they chose Glenn and Pinkins as the cold case they wanted to do, and they was wondering, was all the evidence still available? And so the evidence clerk was so helpful to the students that he revealed that everything is here except for those hairs. But he knew that the hairs, if it wasn't at step B, it was still at step A. That means it's still in the prosecutor's office. So the students, they got the paperwork from the evidence clerk and took it back to the professor, and the professor was like, wow, it's still in the prosecutor's locker. So anyway.
So they ain't been the second step. They ain't been the B.
Right. Either they dropped the ball or I call it an act of God.
Yeah.
Because Indiana don't preserve evidence. They didn't have to preserve it.
Yeah,
There's no law in Indiana to preserve evidence.
Yeah.
But this evidence was still there. And some people would say drop the ball, but I call it the act of God.
Act of God.
And the judge said, because when the students came with all this paperwork about the evidence, the judge ordered them to produce it. So they brought it to court, and anyway, they sent it off to the laboratory. And not only did they have the head hair, they had pubic hair that never been tested. And so they take the head hair and this hair, I should have said most sensitive area, but they took these hairs and they tested them. And now the mitochondrial DNA tester said the hair was so far off from me, it couldn't even come from my family tree. The head hair, they said, was man on the woman's sweater. And then the hair they got from the most sensitive area, it made a whole nother DNA match. I mean, it was a whole nother band. So now they have not just, they had two bands already that didn't match us. So now this made the third one. It didn't match none of the 5 people they arrested. So
did they ever find?
No, let me tell you what happened. So we got all this evidence now. It's on my post-conviction. Now, Mr. Pinkins, he had just exhausted all his remedies. So now it was me. And this was my last appeal.
Right.
So, no, it wasn't my last. But for the post-conviction hearings, this was it. So anyway, I thought it was my last. But anyway, it was right up in the Gary Post that after 15 years, I've been down 15 now. After 15 years, a man could be released due to new DNA technology. And so when I go back to the court, oh man, I'm excited. The professor was excited. The students, when I come in this time, they didn't even put the shackles on my legs.
Wow.
I still came in with the cuffs. So when I come in, the students there, the professor. She had another law professor with her this time, well, one of her assistants. And I come in the courtroom and they're excited. And I'm excited because I'm looking at the courtroom was packed, standing room only. It wasn't even a seat. The whole front row was reporters. So now I come in here, I'm like, wow. So now I'm really like, I'm going home. You know, I'm oh. And so the professor said, well, don't get your hopes up too high. She said, well, we got everything here in our favor. The new DNA testing from cell bar, they're again telling, they're going to tell this judge that even though they couldn't get all the DNAs out of the mixtures, that now we have 3 DNAs.
Not you.
And your genotypes are not in the mixture still. Right. So, okay. And now the hair that they use against you at your trial, it's not even your hair. So all things say go home.
Right.
But my God, scientists from Idaho came to testify in my behalf. Scientists from Germantown, Maryland came and testified. Scientists from Crohn's laboratory over here in Illinois came and testified in my behalf. And the judge denied it.
Are you freaking kidding me?
He denied my appeal. And look,
that is insane.
When he denied the appeal, he said because of the 2 snitch testimonies and the victim ID of my co-defendant. So
they really relied on snitches that want to get out of jail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so they denied me. And once again, the media, they was like, what? Some of the reporters, they were sitting right behind me. They was like, what? You know, you can hear the outbursts in the courtroom. And so they said I'm being remanded back to the sheriff. So I'm back to the IDOC and all that stuff. So I get up, I tell my family, hey, I'm coming home anyway. You know, my sentence is almost up. So don't worry about it. I'm on my way home regardless of the fact. So I goes back to the prison and I finished my little college stuff and I finished my time.
Chris, you had a comment?
Huh?
No, I was just gonna let him finish, Mr. Glenn, because I know a lot about this case because Daryl Pinkins is my best friend's father, Damien.
Oh yeah, Damien, yeah.
Yeah, that's my best friend. We worked together.
We went out to dinner when we came home.
Yep. I was in Vegas at that time when y'all came home. But yeah, I know a lot about this case. We used to talk about this case a lot, from what he knows, because when it happened, I believe Damien was in the 7th grade when everything happened.
He was because my kids were 8, 7, and 2. And his was a little older than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at this point right here in the show, once again, we're talking with Mr. Roosevelt Glenn Sr., who's falsely accused and spent almost 17 years in prison for something that he did not do. Mr. Glenn, we have a life coach on here with us as well. Okay, that's Jeff Relaford. Jeff, at this point right here, because we want to get to the second half of this. I'll put some life coaching in this.
Real.
I just want to say words can't really truly express and define what this man has gone through and truly the experience that he had due to a justice system that when this man went in and told the complete truth, he was manipulated. His testimony and his words were just twisted and used against him so that way they could shape the story and flip the narrative so they can just pin something on somebody. And we must remember at this time in the 90s, this was going on around the nation, you know what I mean? It just so happens that it hit this close to home. You know what I mean? It hits this close to home. This is something that was going on nationwide, and this is a racial thing. So I do want to point that out as well. This is a racial thing. Don't think that it wasn't motivated by any other sort of nothing like that, because what you see here is a number of brothers that were nowhere near this woman, nowhere near this scene of the crime, but they just wanted to pin it on somebody. And it's not right. There's not a lot that I can really say without being angered, there's not a lot that I can say without wanting to express a hell of a lot to come out of my mouth right now.
Yeah.
But it's just not right, and it really saddens me that you had to go through that. I'm thankful and grateful to God that you are out. You know what I mean? And you are able to go ahead and experience your life, get the rest of your life back that you did lose. You know what I mean? You're able to have those rest of those relationships with your friends and family and everything. But I know that I speak for a lot of people and everybody on this panel when they say you definitely did not deserve to go through any inch of that. And man, that's all I have to say.
That's all good. I understand too. It's redirect, regroup, refocus. It's Jeff Rutherford. So, Mr. Glenn, so we get to the trial. We get to you've been in jail for all this time. Okay, now it comes the time that you get the revelation that, hey, I am really going home. Now all of this time has been taken away from you. Your family's been affected just as much as you've been affected. You were married at the time as well.
Divorce.
So now you're getting out. How does that feel? Are you angry still, or I know that you're happy, but are you still feeling some anger towards everybody that made that happen?
Well, in the beginning, I was, and I guess in being, keeping it real, you're gonna always have a little anger in you because of your life been taken,
right?
For nothing. But I got over it because I seen the anger. My first couple of years in prison, I was in maximum security, and the first couple of years, it's really no time for anger because I seen guys angry, and I seen what they done to people, and I seen what anger has done to some people, and I didn't want to lose my mind.
Right.
Anger was eating at me so hard the first couple of years that I had to correct it. I asked God to give me help because it was destroying me, and everybody else was living. Everybody who I felt wronged me, they was out in freedom having the time of their life, and I'm miserable. So it become another mental battle more than anything else. Everything is of the mental, and my mental told me that I'm going to continue to be the good man I was before I went to prison. I was a good man. I just wasn't a man of faith. So I didn't let prison hurt me or destroy me, but I became that man of faith. And when I was released from prison, you're right, I was the happiest guy you ever want to see. I wanted to go to a restaurant. I wanted to eat something other than prison food. It didn't matter. The professor and all the students, they met me in Indianapolis. And because I was released from a prison down in Indianapolis. What's it called? Man, I went to 5 different prisons in the state over them years. 5 different prisons. They do that to keep you off balance and to try to crack you up. That's my opinion. And they always let it be known that you're a rapist. So everywhere you go, you already one mark on you.
Tagged.
Wow. So but the problem was I was connected. And what I mean by connected, I was connected with God. And God touched people in the prison that was in positions that watched over me. And it's amazing if you look, if I could just take you through my ordeal through prison, you would be, I never had one incident. But anyway, when I got out, we went and ate steaks, and I was eating shrimps and all that kind of stuff. All that was good. I tried to put the happy face on because, my mom and my sister, she lived, she prayed that she lived to see me come home, and she got that. She prayed that she lived to see me come home in my right mind, and I believe she got that. And from that point forth, I said I wasn't going to look back, only to strengthen myself. You can look back for the negative, or you can look back on how you got overcame. And so what I've done for my therapy was what I'm doing now, talking about it. I've been all over different universities, churches. I give testimonies at church. I've been like talking to judges and scientists. I've been out in Pittsburgh. People have had me come out and give tell my story. And 48 hours, CBS 48 hours. They done a 1 hour, uh, uh, what you call that?
Reenactment.
Yeah,
A documentary or
a
something.
1 hour show, and on Glenn Pinkins. And from that point on, I just continued to just look positive because I had a lot of hurt still.
Yeah.
Filling out applications, companies would call me even after I do all the written tests, and I would do all the physical tests, and then they do the background check. And like I said, I got out on parole. And let me tell you this, it's like I had already been through hell, but
still had a little fire on you.
Hey, look, I'm been through hell, you know what I'm saying? And then I get out and I'm on parole.
Right, that's fire on you.
They forced me to register as a sex offender. They forced me to take therapeutic classes for rapists, child molesters, incest.
So in essence, Roosevelt, you left one jail cell, and when you came back into society thinking that you were free, you were technically in another jail cell.
Correct.
Wow.
And it just so happened that I was fortunate that Karen Freeman Wilson gave me a job after I had been out here 2 years. I was cutting grasses. I was doing little plumbing on the side. The people I was cutting grasses and stuff for, they would let me do work in their house, like on plumbing, cleaning gutters. I was doing everything I could, cutting grass, wintertime, shoveling snow, doing. And then one day, Karen Freeman gave me a city job. And she gave me that city job because now I was really desperate because now they was threatening to put me back in jail because
child support.
Rear child support. So I had like 15 years of rear child support that they stuck me with.
They don't care.
Oh yeah. As soon as she gave me the job, they started garnishing the check right away. I said they're gonna get their money.
Yeah, that's the trick of the trade. That's how they do it. You know what I'm saying? If you
mess up so bad where you can't work.
That's how they do it. Especially if you inside or not, they still want you to pay somehow, some way.
Yeah, they contacted me before I got out of prison. They sent me a letter.
Right.
I think it was like my last 4 years. I got a letter, like they was waiting on me, and I had a counselor in prison to help me resolve the issue even before I got out. As far as because she said some people have went straight back to the county, but she called them in my behalf and had me get on a three-way with child support, and we had set it up while in prison. When I get out, I would contact them and start giving them whatever I could. I was giving them $5 a month, to start out. And then the grass money, I was getting them a cut out of the little grass money. But I was very fortunate because, like I say, I was able to, I wrote a book while I was in prison. It's called Innocent Nightmare. And I also was able to go downstate. They had me, I went down and testified before the Senate committee and for the compensation bill. Now Indiana has a compensation bill that wrongfully convicted people automatically, once they prove they was wrongfully convicted, could get compensation from the state.
Is that only if DNA evidence was involved?
No, it's not supposed to be. But that's
is it?
I know one person that already got it that didn't have DNA.
Okay.
But it was a white lady by the name of Christine Bunch. She did 17 years as well, and she just received it about last year. She just received compensation from the state.
So how did they calculate something like that?
And what was the difference between when she got out and she was compensated?
What do you mean by that?
The difference, like from the time she got out to the time she was compensated, is that like a whole lot of years?
Oh yeah, but see, no, it just became effective.
Oh, okay.
And let me see, the compensation bill came effective. November of what was it, 2019?
Okay.
2019, they just enacted it.
Okay.
And
Right,
she
in
had been out
COVID.
for a while, but she qualified. See, me and her both testified before the Senate committee, and our testimonies, because of how long we didn't qualify for it.
Okay.
So what happened after they heard our cases, they went back and rewrote it. And so it went for it went retro. Now
They
anybody,
grandfathered everybody in.
yeah, anybody
Okay.
that's ever
Yeah.
been wrongfully convicted and proved it, they could they paying them $50,000 a year.
Mis-
For the
Mr.
years
Glenn,
that you spent in prison?
Yeah,
Yeah.
50,000 for every year.
Yeah, because when they do it that way, but if you go into like a private security situation, I believe it was $425 a day of the time that you spent in prison. And if you were wrongly accused or found innocent on an overturn, they had to pay you that time the whole time you was in there.
Wow.
Right. So
Yeah.
when they made it retro, they asked me, they offered it, and I declined because of my lawsuit is still pending, and my attorneys feel that's my best route.
Yeah.
Because that'd be the only way I'd be able to expose everything what happened. Because there's still people locked up that waiting to hear about what happens to this case, because they have issues similar to the issues we went through, me and Pinkett. So
Is anything happening to the ones like the prosecutor and those that kind of purposely overlooked, or tried to make
out.
you say something? Nothing's going on with them. It is not okay.
They did their job, Marcella. That's what they were supposed to do. So
yeah,
they-
their prosecutors are what they call protected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Law enforcement is not protected.
Yeah.
And-
Mr. Glenn Roosevelt,
sir.
you are a very strong individual. Most people would have broken and given in, but someone was watching over you, and you know who that was. Your case is almost identical to the Jonathan Iron case that WNBA superstar Maya Moore had set free last year. Your case is almost identical to the story that Michael B. Jordan starred in, Justice, almost to the letter of conversation.
Yes.
So the roadmap that puts you in prison is a roadmap that's being used by the justice system throughout the United States and all 50 states to incarcerate individuals based on your skin color, your economic, or the neighborhood you grew up in. And when we talk about Black Lives Matter and we talk about the justice system and people say all lives should matter, we have to understand that the reason why the justice system is the way it is because it weighs heavy against the incarceration of our young Black men and women and melanated people. So I have my fingers crossed. I have everything crossed that your day will come.
And you're going to come back on the show and share it with us, I hope.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm here now.
Oh yeah.
When Gina reached out to me, I was kind of glad, because I haven't had too many of us reach out to me.
Really?
And I've been going all over the country, just telling my story. I haven't been getting paid for it, but this is my therapy, and it helps me a lot to every time I tell somebody I'm innocent, and I look at people and they believe in my innocence. That helps me a lot.
You mentioned the Innocence Project.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you tell a little bit about that organization and what they do?
Oh yes, the Innocent Project. They're now the Innocent Project was founded in New York City, and they now have a network, and is all over the country now. They got them everywhere. Mostly is colleges. Notre Dame just joined, so that's going to help Indiana a lot. Notre Dame has joined, and what they do is they review cases. They get letters, and they review cases. And most of the cases they review, of course, are people who can't afford help. And what they do is they go in, review your case, and then they represent you post-conviction. And their whole objective is to free innocent people. And I'm so thankful to them, because they started all this now, and it's like a movement now all over the country.
Yeah,
And
hear about it all the time now.
oh
Are
yeah,
you working with one of these organizations as far as um, to help others that
yeah,
are in a predicament? You are with one of these.
yeah.
You are
Like
working with them.
the people that help me, IUPUI, whenever she wants me to come talk to students, or she have a case or something like that. Sometimes she'll discuss it, but I don't know the legal things to do. But
So, do you counsel?
not yet.
Okay.
It's just right now. I'm at the stage of just talking with those that do the work,
Okay.
and they use me right now. I'm being used mostly to encourage students about good ethics
Okay.
and what it takes in the courtroom, because the courtroom is the main arena. And everybody should practice good ethics in the courtroom, because
Without a
that's
doubt.
where everything is decided.
Yep.
And the students is the future. See, because we already got the good old boys, that's already happening. So now we got to try to change the mindset of those coming up now. And that's what my focus has been on, is trying to speak to students all over the country any chance I get. And I put that out there to the people that I meet, so they will invite me, because like the students in my case, they couldn't believe that this happens in Indiana. And I was like, it happens in Indiana. And this one lady, she couldn't believe that until she read my case. She didn't even think stuff like this happened. She just thought this is just stuff that was in the past.
So, what would you advise everyday people? Is there something that you feel that just everyday people can do to try to help change the laws? What can we do as just citizens all over the country to help change the laws?
I think the main thing is see what the politicians are representing, because the politicians, they the lawmakers, and when you vote, because soon as they gave me my right to vote, I was one of the first ones in line. I'm voting, because you got to know who you're voting for and what they represent and what they stand for.
So like we're going through this midterm right now, and Attorney General's up for election. That's one of the people that you need to keep your eye on too, because you'd be surprised how many of those attorney generals that are in the country that are just putting black folk in jail like it's slave time.
Oh yeah.
Well, the first thing we have to do is learn the law first.
Yeah.
We can't change the law if you don't know what the law is.
There you
Exactly.
go.
So we have to learn the law, because every law has a loophole in it.
Everyone.
Yeah, so we have to just go in and really find out learn the law, find out what that loophole is, and you really have to get behind, like Mr. Roosevelt just said, you just have to get behind people that has the same outlook and initiative that you have. That's who you vote for. Don't vote for someone because they're black. Don't vote for someone because they're a Democrat or Republican. Don't do none of that. They have to have the same insight that you have, and that's who you go for. And that's who you vote for. And so you put your money behind. And with that, and I know Mr. Roosevelt will probably agree on this. He probably won't. But when dealing with that court system, the prosecution and the defense attorney, they basically work hand in hand. They work together. They act like they're against each other, but they really work together, because that's the way it's set up. That's the way that the government is set up. So the main thing that we have to do, like Mr. Roosevelt said, we have to really get our heads on these young people. Yes. We have to get them, because before they get corrupted by the system that they're going into, especially if it's a lawyer, government type system, we have to get to them first and really let them see the light before they get in there and start, going by the stuff that's been going on in law, in courtrooms for hundreds of years. Because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about. I mean, we talk about briefly off camera, but it's a lot of stuff that people don't know about that you can get by on really representing yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's really also really better than having someone there to represent you.
That you don't know that's in your corner.
Right.
I didn't know I could object. I didn't know I could fire my lawyer. I didn't know none of that when I went to trial. That's why education is really important. and not knowing
Mm-hmm.
the laws, that's something we all should learn. You don't have to be an attorney, but just know your rights. Know your civil rights.
That's it.
And one of the big things everyone, especially people of color, should really have their nose in this book every day. Y'all need to get into the Black Law Dictionary. The Black Law Dictionary will help you out so much and help you understand a whole lot of stuff that's going on in this world today.
Wow.
That's true.
That's a lot, Mr. Glenn Roosevelt. That's a whole lot, man, that you've gone through. And I sat here and listened. Normally, I'm talking all day long, but I had to sit here and listen because it's a travesty. It's a travesty. It's a failure of the justice system. But talking about it, keeping the narrative out there so that people can continuously discuss it, maybe that'll help. Okay, but we want to make sure here at DopelivenTV Live that we aren't afraid to talk about anything. Okay, and we're absolutely thrilled that you came on to tell us this story. This is a compelling story. And until I read about it, man, I'm like, no, not.
Sounds like something on TV.
Sound like the movies.
Like I said, I've been knowing about this. I've been knowing about this since I was in middle school.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it took a toll on Damien, like big time. It took a toll on him big time, bro. And like I said, me and Damien been running like on the basketball court. Every time you saw him, you saw me in Gary when I was living there. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like when I left, it really took a toll on him. I left in 05 going into 06. And after that, that's when I would start reading stuff about it. And I was like, man, I was like reaching out to my brother, making sure he was all right. But yeah, that toll of him not having that time with his father, man, really took a big toll.
Yeah, I know firsthand because I've seen my kids, so I know exactly what he went through.
So it's not just those that are in prison.
We're going to close out now, Marcy. If there's a message that you had to give everybody about your situation, your struggle, your choices that you made during this whole thing, there was a message, an overall message you could give everybody out there, all our listeners, what would it be?
If I was going to give a message, I would just tell everyone, find out who in your area has an innocence project, has a wrongful conviction clinic, and see if they need a hand. Because there's so many brothers still in prison, and they're trying to get them out. And a lot of their fight be with politicians. And the community has the power to move the politicians. Sometimes this is just like my professor in my case, it was just her by herself and her students. And I would advise anyone, if they should ever come into a situation like this, just have faith in God. Hold on to your goodness. Control your mind. Don't let evil overcome you, because evil can destroy a person, and it will destroy your mind.
That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. Chris, just take us out, man. Let's go around the horn.
Basically, man, today, even though I came on late, I was watching because I was on the call, but today's show is a great show, man, and it shows us that we don't judge a book by its cover, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't stereotype us being colored people. You can't stereotype us to fit your narrative. One thing that people don't know is that the jailhouse is basically a bank. You know what I'm saying? A jailhouse, they have CUSIP numbers. They have all of that accepts money from the government to keep them open. Pretty much 98% of the jails are private entities. You know what I'm saying? Which wealthy people are basically donating to these banks to keep them open and to keep them going. And they're getting paid off of the people that they put up in there. So always check on your people, learn the law. And man, I'm glad to see Brother Roosevelt out, man. And y'all need to listen to his story and get with him and help him tell his story, because there's more people like him that's already out there.
Absolutely. Kevin?
For those that are listening to this, this family from Dope Living TV. We support our family and our extended families and our melanated brothers and sisters. For those of you that are impacted by Mr. Roosevelt Glenn's story, please pay him for this story so he can support the life he now has. Remember that Black men are 7 times more likely to be convicted of a crime and longer prison systems than their white counterparts from the very basic. And like Chris said, that the institutions that house these individuals are there for profit, not exactly for people to do their time. Support these organizations, learn who your political officials are, talk to them, contact them to find out what they're about. And let's let this be the end of this story. And the only way we can end it if we become active in the process of ending these type of stories.
Absolutely, brother. Marcella?
Okay. Just because it might not be you or your family today, it may be tomorrow or down the line or someone that you know. Don't just talk to the politicians because, like someone I think commented, they lie. Look at their track records. Go back and see their track records. Look at different cases to see how did they vote. How it's not just about what they're doing; it's how they're actually voting. Indiana primaries are tomorrow. We vote tomorrow.
Yeah, we do too.
Do your research. You still have time. Do your research tonight. Vote, vote, vote. Politicians are voted in to work for us, not the other way around. If they're not doing what they were voted to into office to do, vote them out. Unite, 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 and get them up out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off my man, my brother Chris. Just know the law for yourself. Do some studying, some research, and because a lot of us, we are unequipped when we get in these certain situations because we simply just don't know, and there's no reason why we shouldn't know, and there's no reason why the next person should know something but doesn't want to show the next person because they feel that they have something. This is all information that we should have. This is all information that we should share. And as we listen to stories like Roosevelt Glenn's, just let it be known that, like Marcy said, this could be you. I'm a young brother, man. I'm only 30. I'm only 32 years old, and the fact that we weren't that far in age from when that happened to you. You know what I mean? That's why that kind of particularly hits home to me in that sense. You know what I mean? Because of that closeness in age and that it could just happen. But we are in a new time. We are in a new area. And I just hope and pray that when people listen to your story, sir, that people take something from it. They take heed, they learn, and it pushes them to do more.
Moby.
Man, I agree. Brother Glenn, you are one strong brother, and I appreciate you coming on here, giving us a little light into this case and situation. Bruh, you got strength beyond, yes, your strength is unbelievable, and I commend you for it because I don't think I could have survived 10 days with what's going on, especially I'm knowing that I'm, innocent. I'm telling you, bro, you got strength beyond belief. And again, I think what we need to do is just like what Kevin was saying, we need to go out and let folks know, hey, get involved with these organizations so, we can get these brothers out of jail. It don't make no sense. This is ridiculous.
And sisters.
Brothers and sisters. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm going to tell you, this is, the hairs on my back are standing up. This is real. This is not television. This is not a movie. This is not a script. This is real. This is a real life situation that Roosevelt had to endure. And man, I'm telling you, you are very strong. One thing I want to say, you brought it up. This was God that was with you, walking you through those floors of that prison every single day to bring you out as strong as you are today. I'm telling you, it was not just a coincidence that you answered the phone. It wasn't a coincidence that we saw your article. It wasn't a coincidence. You were meant to come on the show and talk about your situation to hit the ears of all fellow Americans and all people who are listening. We never know when it's going to be one of our family members. Too many times we don't take action until it hits home. We shouldn't wait until it hits home. We are all fellow Americans. And when you're innocent, there should not be a question of somebody stepping in and sharing a story or helping or doing what they can to make sure it doesn't happen again. I'm telling you, I really, really appreciate you sharing your story, Roosevelt. That it's brave to even talk about it. I'm telling you, I'm shaking, I'm shivering. I just
Okay.
just know I'm supporting you. I'm here to support you. Check your cash out. That's what we're here for.
Thank you. I thank you all.
You know, I would love to say this is an unusual situation, but it's not. It's not an unusual situation. If it happens, a lot of times it's just not. We don't know, but it happens probably every day. Um, Fortunately for us, we were able to have Mr. Glenn on here to talk about it and bring some light to it. It's a travesty that of what happened to you, Mr. Glenn, but it's a blessing knowing that you're out here and you're able to shine that light so that other people can not only learn what they can do, but to be here and say, hey, congratulations, thank you for sharing your story, and to give you the props that you deserve. Um, it's just terrible that we can't. Or the justice system is the way that it is. But you know, we're glad that you're out. We're glad that you were able to bless us with your presence here on the show. And anytime you need to come on here and say anything, consider this home, okay? Consider this a place that you can just come in here and say anything. We got your back, all right? Everybody that's out there has $ Roosevelt T. Glenn. Let's send this man some love, all right? $ Roosevelt T. Glenn. I'm gonna let it roll even when the show is over. Let it roll on the outro. So, Mr. Glenn, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for giving us this time. Anytime you want to come back through here, man, and check us out, come on through, bro.
I'll be back.
Thank you, Roosevelt.
I'll be back to sit with all
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Truly
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Let us know when your book comes out.
It's out.
He's out.
Oh, okay.
All
Yeah, it's
right.
on Amazon.
Okay.
And the name of it again is what?
Innocent Nightmare.
Innocent Nightmare. You all go check that out on Amazon, okay? Support this brother, $ Roosevelt T. Glenn. Let's get this brother free. Let's
Thanks
get
a
him
lot.
free, y'all. All right, it's DopelivenTV
I
live
appreciate
tomorrow.
each one of you.
Oh, no doubt, man. We appreciate you even more, most definitely. Okay,
Peace out,
DopelivenTV
bro.
live, man. We will see you guys tomorrow. We got another great subject tomorrow. Okay, actually, should I tease it, Gina?
Tease it.
Tease it. Okay, so everybody got their different parenting styles. All right.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna get on here. We're gonna hopefully talk to some people who are giving us their styles. Okay, the way I was raised is not the way
That's right.
you were raised or what the younger generation. So we have
was
somebody
raised beat you
from
when
the
I
young
wanna,
generation come
when I
on.
wanna, beat you when I wanna.
Yeah, we're gonna have that's Maurice. We're gonna have somebody young come on here and tell how their it was a post that was out today, and I just had to contact this person. This person said they'll come on and talk too, as well as you guys. We appreciate you guys for listening. Okay, it's DopelivenTV Live. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace out.
Good night.